Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Hoskins, Sales and Marketing Director for Titronics Research and Development. I'm going to go through with you today some of the new features we have, the analytics on the cloud version of our software. These are included in the cloud version. We'll be adding some more as we go along and some other more features. There's more that I'm not even going to cover today. I'm just going to cover the analytic layers that we have. And we are going to only offer it on the cloud version going forward, not on the version 2 that resides on your software on your network. That software will still be active. You can still continue to use it, but when you upgrade, you get these additional features. So let me share with you my screen. Excuse me. You can see here, I'm going to load a patient. We're just going to type in her first name. Lot of scans here. The first layer of analytics I want to go over is something that we have known for a very long time. You have the direct temperatures, which is the actual temperature from the scanner with left and right, and then you have the delta T, or the difference between left and right. When you have a delta T at 0, that means left and right are exactly the same temperature down to 1/10 of a degree. Anything to the right means the right is hotter. Anything to the left means the left is hotter. So on this scan, nothing was hotter on the left than it was on the right. So that's one. If we add the hybrid delta T, I'm pressing the Y key. Let me show you the key thing. If I press the Y key, the delta DT, or the hybrid delta T, get rid of the K, the key function here. Hit the Y key. What we see here is several things pop up. We have these vertical lines now in the direct temperature on the left and the right, and we have these bubbles, as I call them. These bubbles come from the data difference on the direct temperatures compared to average. So to the left of average is going to show up as a blue bubble. To the right of average, or hotter than average, is going to show up as a red bubble on the corresponding side. See, this bubble here has a similar shape here. This was a straight line here, is a straight line there. Down here, all of this is colder than average. So you're going to see colder than average down here as well. On the right side here is hotter than average. It's going to be that red bubble here. And on the left side, it's going to be colder than average. It's going to show up as a blue bubble. So let me just show you without it and with it. This is a very, very quick way for me to see if there's horizontal balance or vertical balance. And then when we look at all of the scans, this allows us to see quickly how that horizontal and vertical balance changes. The other thing it allows us to do really quickly is if we see this spike here, right hot, is that coming from the right side being hot, or is it coming from the left side being cold, or is it a combination of both? And if we put this in here, we can see it's from a combination of both. Below the spike is actually hotter on the right. It gets colder, but on the left it got cold, so that's why this is pronounced. This gives us an insight by looking at this one graph on what's going on with the scan. So that's one layer. That's called the hybrid delta T, and you can toggle that on and off with your Y key. The next thing I'm going to go over is how to set automatically a pattern. So we're going to select that pre-scan and that pre-scan and this pre-scan. And that one, and that one, and let's just do this one here just to show you something. So if I click all those, you saw how they went gray. If I right click on any of those and click overlay selected, it'll put all of them on a graph. If you look at this, there's one that kind of doesn't fit with the other, and it's this red one here. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hold down Control and make sure I have the right one. So that's the right one. See, it doesn't really fit with anything else. I'm holding down the Control key and clicking on that one. So I really don't want that one. So I want to make sure it stays clicked. I'm going to hit Delete. Now, all of these others look very similar. I think this one right here, move that up just a little bit. That shows how much more similar that is. The only other outlier is this dark blue one. I think it's this one right here. Yeah, that's the only other outlier. I think I'm going to get rid of that one and not consider it as part of my collection of pattern work. So now what I'm going to do is if I hit the K, you see we have this analytic here, auto place lines, or automatically chart. This is going to be, since we have a bunch of graphs, it's going to put an automatic analysis on this chart with the K key. If I hit A, it's going to analyze all of these together and gives us the area of highest congruence between these charts. Most of us wouldn't have picked this one out, but there's a high congruence of angularity and slope within this section here. It also does the direct temperature. A lot of us don't do pattern on the direct temperature, but this will automatically do that. Now that we have these areas of congruence identified automatically, mathematically, we're going to hit the M key. Again, I'm going to show you the M key is make a composite scan. When I hit the M key, it's going to take all of these and make a average scan, this orange one that appeared here. We can click on it and show you. And made that one from all of these others. Now, when I hit escape, it's going to ask me a question. Do I want to save the composite scan? Do I want to get rid of it? Or do I want to set that composite scan as pattern? Since I've done this work, I'm going to make that composite scan the pattern. It's taken the most out of all of these sections and saved it as pattern. So we're going to make that pattern. When I get out of here, what you'll notice, let me see if I can scroll in on this. Can't zoom in on this very well. But you can see those areas of concern for the top and the bottom now have these boxes around it. This is now the composite pattern free. I don't know if you can see that very well. I don't have a way to make this bigger. Usually you can control scan to make things bigger. I don't have that here right now. I can't zoom in on this very easily. But let me just double click on this right now. So there it is. If I have this and the composite together and overlay selected, it gives me these numbers. I don't know if you can see these numbers or not, but for each section that we had defined before as pattern areas, it does 3 different analytics. There's an absolute slope, there's a relative slope, and then there's a Pearson coefficient. The easiest way to understand the 3 is the absolute slope is there one, and which direction does it go? And then what's the corresponding slope there? So you can see right here, we have both of these angled to the right. So there is a slope and they're both angled to the right. So the absolute slope is 100%. The relative slope has to do with a composite of all of the tangents here. Is the slope the same, and how much of it is the same? And so we only have a 69% relative slope on this area here. And then the Pearson coefficient is if we did the area under the slope, which is a calculus thing, what is the correlation between this graph and that graph? And it tells us 100%. So these are very likely the same, and these are probably going to be considered in pattern for just this area. We can look left side, we had a 99, a 53, and an 86 up in this area. Right side doesn't play into pattern here. And then down here we had almost 100 on all 3. Here we had an 87, a 59, and a 76. So with this crossover, we can see something is changing here between pattern and this scan. And over here we had an 80, a 51, and a 92. Again, with those being different slopes, we're going to have a lot lower congruency between the 3. So that's the 3. We can also click right here or hit the T. So if I'm going to show you again, we're going to next stat type. We're showing all 3 of them here. If I hit the T, it's just going to show us none, just going to show us areas that we had selected. Here's the Pearson coefficient only. Here is, and you see there's these gray bars here. That's how much at that area they're alike. This is the relative slope, and this is the absolute slope. So this bar graph on the left is going to show us, especially on the relative, where the highest relativity is, which is going to be the whitest. The lowest relativity is going to be the darkest, the black square, and then the absolute. So absolutely the same, not the same, similar. So I know that's a lot of stuff to take in. I know that's a lot of stuff to do, but when you have this selected, Now, when you look at these scans here, when you do your scan on the delta T, the calculation is going to show up when you do your scan. If I have my scanner here to do a fake scan, it would put the pattern behind it just like always, but then it would automatically do these calculations. This doesn't replace you choosing your pattern. This just reinforces the numbers behind it. The other thing we can do is if I go into here and place lines and then clear it, see up here at the top, see to clear, I can get rid of all of those. I can actually even go back and get rid of this as my pattern. So I'm going to delete that scan. It's not going to be in there anymore. Then I'm going to go back down to the scans I chose. So we're going to do this one, and this one, and this one. And we're going to overlay those. I'm going to take the yellow one, hold down Control, and move it up a little bit. And where do I see patterns myself? So I'm going to place a line. I'm going to say, you know, right here is pattern. Another line that I see is, well, that's not really pattern going on there. I don't see much going on there. But I can say over here, this is also pattern. I'm not going to worry about anything down in here. And so I can go ahead and set my lines as well. And then I can click the make composite. And when I hit escape, it's going to save as pattern, but it's going to use my areas that I chose as the areas to compare. So I can take any of these guys, blow it up. Let me get rid of that. Take any of these guys and see where the area of pattern is. Now, I would also have to have selected this one as well. Now I can overlay the one I had before, and it gives me my Pearson coefficient, it gives me my relative and my active. So anyway, that is one way. That is the way we've come up with to help you do what you do at a higher level. The scans that I was showing you is an actual client of mine that I shared with the demo account to show you this. I scrubbed her name, obviously, and changed her name. But that was shared from my active database to the Titronics demo active database. And I can go in and share files. I can unshare them. I can have complete control. So if you have somebody who's traveling to another office that uses the Titron and scans on a regular basis and is on the cloud software, it's as easy as finding out their clinic number and sharing that with them. And I'll go over the details of that later. You can also email your scans to your client, and they can use that link to pull up their scans so that they can take them with them to somebody who may not be on the cloud yet, or somebody who doesn't use scans on a regular basis but understands what they mean. And so we're adding a lot of functions. We're making it easier and safer for you guys to store and keep this kind of data available to you, since we will be keeping the data in our data lake. We curate that for you, so protect it. We make sure the structure is sound and safe. We prevent corruption. We back it up for you automatically, and so if anything happens, you always will have access to your data. And that's all included in the $49 per month per doctor. We chose to do it that way for a lot of reasons. That's just the way we chose to do it. It's $49 a month per doctor per month, and that's the fee for right now. In the future, as we add more things, there may be options and decision to increase that, but for right now, it's $49 a month per doctor. The other things that we can go into now is no, I'm going to leave it there. This has already been too long. This has already been 4.5 minutes. Oh my goodness, 14 minutes. So yeah, way too long for this instructional video. But those are the layers of analysis we have for scans right now. You don't just have to look at the delta. You can look at the direct, the delta, the hybrid delta, the absolute slope, the relative slope, and the Pearson coefficient. All of those can help you determine whether the client's in pattern or not. And we can make that doctor decision on whether to adjust or not. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you find that very valuable. If you have any questions, obviously email us. I am Doc Hoskins at Titronics.com. You can go to the website, Titronics.com, to look at the new website that went up at the beginning of October. and see this video as well as others on how to use the new software and how to get in touch with us and all the other fabulous stuff that we have to offer. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.